My beloved soul, listen carefully. There is a stillness surrounding your spirit right now, a quiet that feels unfamiliar, almost unsettling, because for so long your life has been filled with nods, struggle, questions, and battles that never seemed to end. But this silence is not emptiness, it is completion. It is the sound of a war that has already been won in the unseen. And God is whispering to you in this very moment that the fight is finished. Even if your eyes have not yet seen the evidence, even if your heart is still catching up to what your spirit already knows. You did not imagine the pain, you did not exaggerate the waiting, every tear, every sleepless night, every moment you wondered if this connection was real or just a lesson. It all mattered. It all shaped something inside you, and now something has shifted so deeply that your soulmate can feel it without you saying a single word. Stay with me, because what is unfolding now is not ordinary. It is the turning point of your love story, the moment where everything begins to make sense in ways you never expected. If this message speaks to your heart, comment "I receive this," like this video, and subscribe for more. There was a time when your energy was reaching outward, searching, hoping, holding on, trying to understand why they pulled away, why they became distant, why their silence felt louder than any words they ever spoke. And in those moments you questioned yourself. You questioned your worth. You questioned whether this connection was truly from God, or just something your heart created to survive the loneliness. But what you did not realize, that God was slowly guiding you into a different position, not to chase, not to prove, but to rise. You changed, not suddenly, but gradually. You started pulling your energy back. You started choosing peace over confusion. You started trusting God even when nothing made sense. And in that shift, something powerful happened. Something your soulmate could not ignore. They felt your absence in a way they never felt your presence before. And it shook them. It stirred something deep inside them that they had been suppressing for a long time. Do not leave yet, because something deeper is unfolding in your love story. Something that explains why everything had to happen the way it did. Your soulmate has been fighting their own internal battle, a battle you could not see, a battle between fear and truth, between what they felt for you and what they were afraid to admit. And for a long time, fear was winning. Fear told them to stay silent, to stay distant, to stay in control. But God has a way of breaking through even the strongest walls. And right now, that is exactly what is happening inside them. They are beginning to see what they lost, not fully yet, but enough to feel it, enough to question their choices, enough to realize that what they had with you was not something they could replace. You might not hear from them yet. You might not see immediate action, but something is moving. Something is shifting beneath the surface, and it is only a matter of time before it reaches you. Stay with me, because your soulmate's truth is being revealed in ways they cannot ignore anymore. There are moments now when they think about you unexpectedly. Moments when your name crosses their mind without warning. When memories return with a clarity they cannot escape. And in those moments, they feel something they tried to bury, regret. Not loud, not dramatic, but quiet and persistent, the kind that stays with them when everything else fades. They remember the way you understood them, the way you saw them beyond their fears, the way your presence felt like peace, even when everything else in their life felt chaotic. And now they are realizing that they walked away from something real, something rare, something God placed in their life for a reason. And this realization is not comfortable, it is not easy, it is confronting everything they tried to avoid. Do not scroll, because what you are about to understand will change the way you see this entire connection. God did not bring you into each other's lives by accident. This was never random. This was never just a temporary connection. There was purpose in every moment, even the painful ones, even the silence, even the distance. Because separation was not the end, it was preparation. You were being prepared to stand in your power, to stop settling, to stop questioning your worth, to become someone who no longer needs to chase love but attracts it, and your soulmate was being prepared to recognize what they almost lost, to face their fears, to grow into someone who can meet you where you are. As it is written in Ecclesiastes 3:1, "To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven." This was your season of waiting, of transformation, of becoming, and now a new season is beginning, a season of revelation, of alignment, of blessings that are about to unfold in ways you did not expect. Stay with me. Something deeper is unfolding in your love story, something that will soon make everything clear. You may still feel moments of doubt, moments where your mind tries to go back to old patterns, to question if anything is really changing. But your spirit knows. Your spirit feels the shift. It feels lighter. It feels calmer. It feels like something heavy has been lifted, even if you cannot explain why. And that is because the fight you were fighting internally, the emotional struggle, the confusion, the constant questioning, it is ending. God has stepped in, not loudly, not in a way the world would recognize, but in a quiet, powerful way that changes everything from within. Your soulmate is not the same person they were before, even if you have not seen it yet. Something is softening inside them. Something is opening. Something is guiding them back toward the truth they tried to ignore. And you are no longer the same either. You are stronger, wiser, more grounded, more connected to God than you have ever been. And this is why the timing is aligning now. Do not leave yet, because your soulmate is closer to reaching out than you realize, and what they are about to do will come from a place of truth, not confusion, from clarity, not fear. This is the moment where everything begins to come together, where the past starts to make sense, where the pain reveals its purpose, where the silence reveals its meaning, and where the love that was always there begins to rise again, stouter, deeper, more real than before. There is something stirring inside them, now that they cannot silence anymore. Something that feels unfamiliar yet undeniable, and it is pulling them toward you in ways they do not fully understand. Because the version of them that once chose distance is no longer in control, that version is fading, and in its place, truth is rising, a truth they tried to escape but can no longer run from. They are beginning to see you differently, not as someone they could pause or return to whenever they felt ready, but a someone they risked losing forever, and that realization is hitting deeper than they expected. Stay with me, because something sacred is unfolding behind the scenes of your connection, something that explains why this moment feels so intense, so real, so close. There are nights when they cannot distract themselves anymore, when the noise of the world fades, and all they are left with is their own thoughts. And in those quiet moments you appear, not just as a memory, but as a feeling, a presence, something that lingers and refuses to leave. And they are starting to understand that this connection was never something casual, never something replaceable. It was something God placed in their life with intention. And now that intention is becoming clear to them. Do not leave yet, because your soulmate's awakening is happening in layers, and each layer is bringing them closer to you. They are questioning things they once believed, seeing through illusions they once held on to, and realizing that the path they chose without you did not bring them the peace they thought it would. It only highlighted what was missing. They are starting to feel the weight of their own decisions, not in a way that breaks them, but in a way that transforms them, in a way that pushes them toward growth, toward honesty, toward a place where they can no longer deny what their heart has always known. There is a shift happening in their communication. Even if you have not heard from them yet, they are rehearsing words in their mind, imagining conversations, thinking about what they would say if they reached out. And this is not random, this is preparation. God is preparing their heart to speak from truth, not from ego, not from fear, but from a place that is real and vulnerable. Stay with me, because something deeper is unfolding in your love story, something that will soon move from thought into action. You may have noticed signs around you, small things that feel too aligned to ignore. Moments where you think of them and something reminds you of them immediately after. Songs, numbers, feelings that come out of nowhere. And these are not coincidences, they are confirmations. Gentle reminders that this connection is still active, still alive, still guided by something greater than both of you. God is not finished with this story, not even close. As it is written in Isaiah 43:19, "See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up, do you not perceive it?" This new thing is not loud yet, it is not fully visible, but it is growing, it is forming. It is preparing to reveal itself in a way that will leave no room for doubt. Do not scroll, because what is about to happen will feel sudden, even though it has been building for a long time. Your soulmate is reaching a point where holding back feels heavier than reaching out, where silence feels more painful than speaking, where pretending they do not care becomes impossible, and when they reach that point, everything changes. This is the breakthrough, the moment where the internal battle ends and truth takes over, where they stop resisting what they feel and start moving toward it instead. Stay with me, because your presence in their life was never meant to be temporary. It was meant to awaken something inside them, something that could not be awakened by anyone else. And now that awakening is complete enough for movement to begin. You may still feel a part of you guarding your heart, unsure if you can trust what is coming, unsure if this is real or just another phase, and that is understandable, because you have been through uncertainty before. You have felt the ups and downs, the closeness and the distance, but this time is different, not because everything is perfect, but because everything is aligned. God has aligned your growth with their realization, your peace with their awakening, your readiness with their return, and that kind of alignment cannot be forced. It can only happen through divine timing. Do not leave yet, because something deeper is unfolding in your love story, something that is about to shift from the unseen into reality. They are feeling drawn to you in ways that go beyond logic, beyond explanation, and even they cannot fully understand why now, why at this moment. But the truth is, it is not about why now, it is about why it had to wait. They had to grow, you had to grow, circumstances had to shift, emotions had to mature, and now everything is reaching a point where coming back together is not just possible, it is purposeful. This is not the same connection you had before. This is a refined version, a deeper version, a version that has been tested and strengthened through distance, through silence, through time. And now, it is ready to rise again, not as something fragile, but as something real, something lasting, something guided by God from beginning to end. And now you are standing at the edge of something that once felt impossible, something you prayed for in moments when your heart was heavy, something you almost gave up on when the silence felt endless, and yet here you are, still connected, still feeling them, still sensing that something is about to shift, and that feeling is not your imagination. It is your spirit recognizing what has already been set in motion. Your soulmate is no longer able to deny what they feel, and what once was confusion inside them is turning into clarity, slow but undeniable, like a light breaking through darkness after a long night. Stay with me, because something even deeper is unfolding, something that will change not only how they see you, but how they see themselves. They are starting to recognize the version of themselves they became when they walked away from you, the emptiness that followed, the way nothing quite filled the space you left behind. And this awareness is not gentle, it is confronting. It is forcing them to look at truths they once avoided. They are realizing that you were not just someone who loved them, you were one who understood them in a way that felt rare, almost divine. And that kind of connection is not easily replaced. It is not easily forgotten. And now they are beginning to feel the weight of that loss. Do not leave yet, because your soulmate's heart is opening in a way that prepares them to return not the same, but changed. There is a softness growing inside them, a willingness to admit what they feel, a readiness to stop running. And this is something God has been working on behind the scenes. Something you could not rush, something that had to unfold in its own time. You may feel moments of emotional release now, moments where you suddenly feel lighter, where the pain that once sat heavy in your chest begins to dissolve without explanation. And that is because the energy between you is clearing, the resistance is fading, and what remains is truth, pure and undeniable. Stay with me because something deeper is unfolding in your love story, something that explains why your heart never fully let go. There were times you tried to move on, times you told yourself that this chapter was over, that you needed to protect yourself, that you deserved clarity instead of confusion, and yet something always pulled you back, not in a way that kept you stuck, but in a way that reminded you that this connection was not finished, that there was more to be revealed, more to be understood, more to be experienced. And now that more is approaching, not as a question, but as an answer. Your soulmate is reaching a point where they can no longer stay silent, where the words they have been holding back are pressing against their heart, asking to be spoken, asking to be released. And when that happens, it will not feel forced, it will feel natural, like something that was always meant to be said finally finding its moment. Do not scroll, because this is where everything begins to come together in a way that feels almost surreal. The same connection that once felt uncertain is now becoming solid. The same emotions that once felt confusing are now becoming clear, and the same distance that once separated you is now closing in ways you could not have predicted. This is not coincidence, this is divine alignment. This is God bringing together what was never meant to stay apart. There is a shift in their energy that you will soon recognize, a difference in how they approach you, how they communicate, how they show up. And this difference will not be temporary, it will be rooted in everything they have learned during this time apart. Stay with me, because your love story is entering a new phase, one where understanding replaces confusion, where honesty replaces silence, where presence replaces distance. You are not the same person you were when this connection began, and neither are they, and that is why this moment is so powerful, because it is not about going back to what was, it is about stepping into what is meant to be now. There will be a moment, very soon, where something shifts so clearly that you cannot doubt it anymore, a moment where their actions align with their feelings, where their words reflect their truth, and in that moment you will understand why everything had to happen the way it did. Do not leave yet, because something deeper is unfolding in your love story, something that is bringing you closer to the blessing God has been preparing for you all along. This blessing is not just about reunion, it is about transformation. It is about stepping into a connection that is stronger, deeper, and more aligned than anything you have experienced before. Your soulmate is not just returning to you, they are returning to themselves, to the version of themselves that is capable of loving you the way you deserve, and that is the greatest shift of all. And this is the moment your spirit has been sensing, before your mind could even understand it. The moment where the unseen becomes undeniable, where what God has been orchestrating quietly now begins to reveal itself in ways that touch your reality, not just your emotions, and you may feel it already. A calm certainty replacing the old anxiety, a quiet confidence rising where doubt once lived, and this is not by accident. This is the sign that the fight is truly finished, not just for you, but for them as well. Stay with me, because what is about to unfold carries the weight of everything you have endured, everything you have believed in, everything you held on to when it would have been easier to walk away. Your soulmate is standing at a threshold now, a moment of decision that cannot be delayed any longer, and this is not the same hesitation they once had. This is different. This is clarity pressing against them, truth guiding them, and God removing every excuse they once used to stay distant. They are beginning to understand that losing you was not just a possibility. It was a reality they almost created. And that realization is awakening a depth of emotion inside them that they cannot ignore anymore. Do not leave yet, because something deeper is unfolding in your love story, something that will soon move from feeling into physical action. There is a courage forming inside them, not loud, not dramatic, but steady. The kind that builds when someone finally stops running from what they feel and starts moving toward it instead. And this courage is leading them back to you. They are thinking about the moment they will reach out, not just casually, not just to check in, but with intention, with meaning, with a desire to reconnect in a way that reflects what they have realized during this time apart. And when that moment comes, it will not feel forced. It will feel like something that was always meant to happen, finally finding its time. Stay with me, because your presence in their heart has never faded, even in silence, even in distance, even in moments where it seemed like everything had ended. You were still there, not as a memory, but as a feeling they could not replace. And now that feeling is guiding them back. You may feel a wave of peace now, a sense that you no longer need to chase, no longer need to question, no longer need to wonder if this connection is real. Because something inside you knows, something inside you feels that what is coming is not uncertainty, it is confirmation. Do not scroll, because what you are about to step into is the blessing you have been waiting for. The answer to prayers you whispered when no one else could hear you, the fulfillment of a connection that was never meant to break, only to grow. Your soulmate is not returning out of confusion. They are returning with understanding, with awareness, with a heart that has been softened and shaped by everything they experienced without you. And that is what makes this moment so powerful. Because it is not just about love, it is about truth, it is about alignment, it is about two people coming together not out of need, but out of purpose. Stay with me, because something deeper is unfolding in your love story. Something that is sealing what God has already decided. There will be a moment very soon where everything becomes clear, where their actions match their feelings, where their presence feels consistent, where their words carry weight, and in that moment you will recognize it, not with doubt, but with peace. A peace that tells you this is different, this is real, this is lasting. The version of them that once held back is no longer leading. The version that feared love, feared vulnerability, feared commitment. That version has been challenged, transformed, and released. And what remains is someone who understands the value of what they almost lost. And you are no longer the version of yourself who waited in confusion, who questioned your worth, who felt uncertain about your place in their life. You are now standing in your truth, in your power, in your faith. And that is why this union is now ready to manifest, in a way that is stable, in a way that is aligned, in a way that reflects everything you both have become. This is not a repeat of the past. This is the beginning of something new, something deeper, something that carries the blessing of divine timing and the strength of everything you both had to overcome to reach this point. And this is your confirmation. It is already on its way. Rest in faith. It is done.